All right, well.
Cool.
Okay, we're on. Boston Art Podcast, episode
4?
3? We missed week 3.
No,
Wait.
I think this is episode 4.
Oh.
It
I
is.
don't know.
We missed week 4, I think.
Yeah.
So this is week 5, episode 4.
God damn it. You gotta move, buddy.
We're driving right now. We're
And-
recording in the car.
And
Thought it would
it's
be fun.
very snowy and narrow. And because we're in Boston. Because it's the Boston Art Podcast. We drive in the bleak midwinter.
You're taking a right on this street.
Okay.
All right, so we thought it would be cool this week to hone our interviewing skills and start off with kind of giving a little more background in depth on each other's work. So first we're going to start off by talking about Brian.
We're going to talk about me.
We are.
So what do we do? What do we talk about? What do you want to know? Which way?
Oh,
Just
shit,
down
sorry.
here?
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah, go that way and then take a right.
You got
at
it.
the end. I think we should. Let's talk about your birth as an artist.
My birth?
Yes.
I was born November 27th, 1995 at, what was it,
10:30 p.m.
10:30? Was that it on the dot? Is that what she said?
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. But you're
My
also...
mom might have lied about
could have been
my
punctual.
birth time. So if anyone out there wants to do my co-star or follow my thing, that is my birthday and time. Is that bad? Should I not tell people that?
I don't know.
Is that okay to tell people that?
I guess it is. I don't think
Is
they
that
can
private
steal your
information?
identity that way. Maybe. I don't know. I think it's fine.
Fuck it. Look me up.
Here's my social, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a Sagittarius.
I'm a Sag.
pretty good.
Sagittarius.
How did you start making art?
Well, I started making art when I was a kid, I guess. I don't think I ever started, really. I think I've just drawn always. I remember the first... You know what's funny? I was thinking about this recently. I do remember the first time I ever discovered that you could draw. There were 2 moments. One was my whole life. There was just this drawing hanging up in my house that apparently my grandpa did.
Oh, that's cool.
He died before I was born. And it's like a drawing of like a bull rider, like a man on the back of a bull. Like very dynamic. And I guess my grandpa drew it.
Wow.
That's the only thing I've ever known him to draw. I don't know if there's other drawings that he made. So I just would see that every day and be like, my grandpa drew that.
Was that your dad's dad?
Yeah, he died before I was born, when my dad was younger. And also, which left is it? You can interrupt me, it's okay.
Left on Waverly.
Yeah, just, fuck it. And also, I can't remember if it was my older brother Dave or my dad, but I do remember being shown how to draw a cube. I was taught how to draw a cube, how you just do the 2 squares and then link them, basic cube drawing. And I remember that I used to do that all the time. And then my earliest memories of being an artist. So that was when I was very, very, very little. I was old enough to hold a pencil, but I wasn't old enough to you know what I mean?
5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't I didn't really have any mental independence, probably, enough to realize, independently realize that I could make art. Anyway, but so eventually I just started to make little comics and drawings, and I used to shittily draw people. And then I also used to carry around a ball of modeling clay.
Oh, nice.
That was so old that I would use it so much that it was basically black. Because it was a bunch of colors mixed together and had a bunch of dirt in it. And I would just... I don't know. I just always had clay in my pocket.
How old were you at that point?
I was a little older. Maybe I don't know. I was younger. I was definitely younger than 10.
Oh.
But I wasn't super little.
Yeah.
So, and I would just, honestly, you know what's really funny is I made clay heads. We'll get to that in a little bit, I guess. But.
We will.
Yeah, but the clay heads, the earliest emergence of those for me was when I was a kid playing with clay, where I would only make clay heads. I would stick the clay to a table and make the base of it the neck, and then I would just build a head out of clay.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I used to make those all the time. I would make them it was just modeling clay, so it's not like any of them were permanent. I would just squish it up after I was done. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then I would just move on and just make a new one.
Yeah, just kind of like a fidget toy almost.
Yeah, it was like a fidget toy, just a lump of clay, and And I would do pencil drawings a lot and pen drawings.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then when did you sort of take it to a more serious level that you knew that this is something that you wanted to do often, even if it was just kind of as a hobby to begin with? But
well, definitely through middle school and high school. Like, I've kept sketchbooks my entire life. Like, I've just always painted and I've always drawn. But when I was younger in middle school and high school, it was mostly just painting on the walls of my bedroom, where I wouldn't do like murals or anything. I would just draw stupid shit and paint faces on the wall. And I don't know, my parents just eventually gave up on me kind of destroying that room. So I just fucking made it 100 times worse. And I would do some pictures and paintings on paper and things like that, but I don't think I didn't actually meaningfully try to become an artist or realize that I could like legitimately make art until after high school. And until I went to college, which was in 2014, and I took a painting class and a writing class. I dropped the writing class pretty quickly because it was a lot more work than I was ready for, and I did exceptionally well in the painting class. And I don't know, the professor was kind of an interesting guy because he was younger. He was probably in his 30s and was very active in his own art career, I guess. I don't know what he's doing now or whatever, but like, he was just, I don't know, he explained I guess he motivated me in a lot of ways and made me realize that I thought that there would it's kind of like in skateboarding, where there are professional skateboarders and then there are people that aren't professional skateboarders. But when I was a kid, I always thought that when you become a professional skateboarder, there's some like board of directors, like magical council of skateboarders that decided you were now a pro.
Like, you are sponsored.
You're a pro skater now. But what it actually...
Tony Hawk himself
but
out of the sky.
Yeah, but there actually isn't anything that happens. You just are very, very popular and you have a lot of sponsors. That's just what it really means to be pro. And that's kind of what it is with being an artist too, where I thought that you had to be an art teacher, or you had to be very talented, or you had to have some type of job or go to college or whatever. But I just realized that you can just be an artist. Yeah. And if you just decide that you are an artist, you just are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of when that started. Before that, though, as a teenager, it was just I only made graffiti. And I would just steal paint markers from the store and draw on desks and lockers and bathrooms and signs. And I wasn't very good. And I didn't do graffiti in like a traditional sense. Like, it didn't look like cool highway graffiti. It was just shitty stuff, like just drawing little faces and writing my name. And I also used to draw aliens a lot. That was a big chapter of my life. Was my alien drawings.
I think we just passed.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn around and see if I can... Fuck.
That's really interesting. Why did you draw aliens?
I don't know, but the first big graffiti venture I had was I was 13 and I would spray paint buildings in my neighborhood in Rockland, and I would write "Aliens exist." I would do a big shitty alien face and a word bubble, and it said "Aliens exist."
Oh my god!
And the reason I'm talking about that is because I later got arrested doing it. That was like just the summer I wrote "Aliens exist" on everything under the sun until I got caught.
You're 13, you said?
I was 13.
Oh.
And I was in big trouble. It was a disaster.
So when were you 13? Like 2008?
I don't know, 2009.
Oh.
That was so, I like did not understand that question for a second, like as you were asking it, and I was like, what do you mean?
When you hesitated, I was like, do I not know math?
I was like, when was I 13? I'm just kidding. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh man,
That's
interviewing's
really
hard.
No, you're doing fine.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting too that a lot of your early motivations were sort of, it sounds like kind of just expression, like getting extra energy out or decorating things or claiming space as your own, like kind of pressing the boundaries of a box kind of.
Dude, yeah,
absolutely. It became more diligent practice.
Because that was a big thing too. That was a big differentiating part. Which fucking house is it? I'll talk about this in 1 second.
Do you want to pause?
Yeah. Is that it?
That one wasn't. Maybe this one.
This is definitely it.
Okay.
This is okay.
Dropping off rent.
Dropping off my rent to my fucking landlord.
All right, pause this.
Hold on.
All right, we're back.
Okay, we're back. So what was I just saying? That you were talking about how my art in the beginning was mostly expressive and to just get energy out and to just claim space as my own?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I think that that's true, but I definitely didn't think about it like that at the time, because the thing is like, this sounds stupid, because I'm sure when I was a teenager, I had a lot of convictions or things that What are you doing?
Oh, you're...
Oh.
You're just holding it the other way, so I didn't know if the sound would be the same.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. I don't know. Whatever. Sorry. No, I appreciate you trying to help me. Thank you. I think that everything I did... I know I had convictions and things I believed at the time, but when I think back to myself back then, it's almost like I remember, like, it was as if my head was empty or like filled with water or something, because I didn't have it's like I wasn't a sentient person back then. I was like more of like a dog or something.
Oh my god. When you were in college?
No, when I was like a teenager, when I was like a kid making art and stuff, like I didn't think, I thought like 20 minutes ahead of where I was at any given moment.
Oh my god.
So I didn't ever, like, the reason, I think the only true threshold I can think of that I crossed in deciding I was an artist, and before I decided I was an artist, has got to be, I think, that's a way better snowman that we've seen all day.
It's a very good snowman.
We've been keeping track of all the snowmen we see, and that specific snowman was significantly better than the rest of them.
It had a real purse.
Yeah, that was good. It had clothes and shit, good props. I think I want to go this way, but I think was literally realizing that I could practice, or learning how to practice, and learning how to get into a routine and how to push myself. It's kind of like if you want to get in shape or play a sport, there is a certain time, like you do. Fuck, is this a one-way? No, it's not. You do have to be taught how to train.
Yes.
You can't just pick up weights and just start fucking swinging them around, or like doing. You have to be taught not just how to be good at the thing you're doing, but how to independently train to be good at what you're doing. And that's what happened to me with art, where I thought I had this dumb misconception in my brain for a lot of my life, probably until I went to college, that people that were really talented were just that way. They were born that way. I thought people that were good were just innately good. Yeah. And I thought that I wasn't. I thought that I was just fine. Like, I thought that I could make cool stuff, or I could make abstract stuff. Woo! Running over a snowbank. And, like, I thought that was it. And that was kind of a cap, and that... I don't know. And I didn't think... It's not that I felt hopeless or that I wouldn't ever be good, but I just thought people that were good, and I was how I was, and people that sucked, and that was that.
I think a lot of people think that about art specifically. I feel like I hear people say that all the time. Like, language like, oh, you're so talented, or I wish I could do that, or something that just kind of skates over the fact that it really is based in a lot of practice. Yeah,
talent is such a
myth.
It's a dumb concept, because, like, maybe there might be children or something, or people new to something that, like you can have an affinity for something.
Yes.
Like, you can be called to something or have a knack for something, but to think that somebody is just, that somebody is just super good and just magically gifted, and that they never have to practice, or they were never taught anything, and they're dope at what they do, that's just not real.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's absolutely not me. That definitely wasn't you.
Yeah, no.
We'll talk about you definitely more, but, like, didn't you go through literally, like, pen and ink camp?
Yeah.
Like a pen and ink camp?
That was the thing I did for a summer. That was really nice.
Yeah, but that's like, you are really good at pen and ink drawings. And you do a lot of realism in pen and ink. Not like a quill in, like, a cup of ink, but like a fucking micron pen.
Well, not even just that. After that class, I think I learned a lot there. That was a really good class that I took. But even that, it was years more of practice. If I had just done that and left, I don't think I would be good at it. Right. I think there's still room to grow even.
Yeah, for sure. And that was how, like, I don't know. So yeah, that's definitely... I definitely think that was how my art started, as being just kind of a wacky, like, just crazy thing. Oh, just like painting some stupid shit, or like abstract canvases. Like, this is so fun. And then I eventually kind of found a way to... I found a way that I could exercise myself and strengthen certain muscles and ways of thinking, and I learned how to study, and I learned how to teach myself.
It sounds like your confidence really came in around college too, that like you started to believe that if you worked at it you'd be able to be something new or something better.
Yeah, because I just learned that there was a fucking universe that I was not hip to.
Yeah.
And that didn't discourage me. It got me really excited to do it.
That's exciting. That's really good.
Yeah. I should take a left. That
you
sign
remember?
says Boston.
Ooh.
And that says
that's
Worcester,
really
Wellesley, so we probably shouldn't. Come on, let me in, you fucking clown.
Okay,
What
don't
the
road
fuck
rage.
is your problem?
Don't road rage.
I'm not road raging. I'm just looking at them in disbelief.
In disbelief.
Like, you fucking idiot, dude. Okay.
When do you remember the first, do you remember the first piece that you made that you felt like was something kind of a different level than where you were at before? Or, like, the first series, maybe?
Maybe. I definitely remember an early one was this kind of experimental stuff I was doing that was really exciting. Oh, wow, this is a weird one. I actually sold these, so they might even still be out there, but I made probably 6 or 7 of these pieces that was this, like, off-white latex, like, house paint, black spray paint, and I was and dirt and sand.
Oh, wow.
Where I was mixing, this was in like 2015 or something, where I was mixing dirt and sand with the off-white house paint and doing these like really violent, expressive, really loud like faces. And just so they just looked like black and like light brown, essentially, almost.
Yeah.
Like a warm white.
So you mixed the dirt and sand into the latex paint?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Just kind of throwing it on there and painting with it, and then when the paint dried on the canvas, it held the dirt there as well.
Yeah.
And some of it obviously fell off, or I wouldn't be surprised if those paintings back then don't exist anymore, because they probably weren't very stable. Like, so they, I don't know, maybe some people I sold them to, like, maybe they fell apart. I have no idea. I couldn't say. Like, I can't imagine they were totally archival, but...
It's interesting, though, because I feel like you have a history of being really experimental in your mediums.
Yeah.
And that's something I really like about your work.
Thanks.
Could you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, I definitely like to do a lot of experimental stuff. Just because, like, I don't know, like, I don't really... So, I feel like my experimenting has evolved a lot, where there used to be a time where I would make art with fucking anything. Like, I'd put fucking motor oil over shit. I'd spray paint, like fucking anything. Not that spray paint's like experimental, but I was using like chemicals, fucking mixing fucking dirt with paint and like just stupid shit. But I think during that time I was not safe, and I did not understand the chemicals I was using. And I was like, putting all acetone on oil paintings. I was being really stupid.
Yeah.
So there was a time where I was experimenting with chemicals and like commercial painting materials and shit. And that was a bad move.
Was this when you were painting in the barn?
Yeah. So my first studio was the barn. And that was what I did in there, where I was just like, I would smoke cigarettes and spray paint inside and paint with fucking acetone and paint thinner and shit. And I was just being stupid as shit. Like, I was not wearing a mask at all. No respirator, nothing. No gloves ever. Smoking. Yeah, it was just dumb.
So for those who don't know, what was the barn?
The barn, so I was very fortunate in that my dad had a barn that was his metal shop, where he ran his business, and there was upstairs, the attic of that barn was just storage and just bullshit like that. And by this time, where I started going to art school and painting and stuff, my dad let me use the attic of that barn as just kind of a shitty makeshift studio. And I didn't know what an art studio was at that time, actually. And I didn't even know that I could rent one or have one. I just never thought of that.
Yeah.
So, and that was how I got my first studio.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that it was my first studio, because I was like, yeah, I guess I'll paint in the barn. I'll stop painting in my room, or like getting,
Oh, is that the reason they didn't want you playing with chemicals in your bedroom?
Well, no, I was playing with chemicals in my dad's shop.
Oh.
So I was in the shop fucking around with shit, getting paint on the floor, probably like stealing his lighters and fucking with his tools and shit.
Yeah.
I was just being an idiot in the garage, basically.
And how old were you? Like 19, 20?
No, I was probably like 18 at this time, 18, 19. just being an idiot in the
Yeah.
garage. And then he was like, you got to stop doing this dumb shit in here with my shit. And then said, if you want to do stupid shit, you can do it upstairs. Don't smoke up there.
Yeah.
And that was, then I started, so that's
He
when
proceeded to smoke up there.
Yeah. And that's, so I started working up there, and that was nice. And I did not realize what I had. I did not understand the value of what I had, or I didn't know how much it cost to rent a studio, or that I even could, and that I was just given this free studio by my dad.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Well, it's really interesting to think about the fact that the downstairs was and still is a shop.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that maybe lent itself to where you were getting those, like, where you were getting motor oil and all of that shit. Like,
totally.
Was that your dad's stuff?
Yeah, I was just taking my dad's shit, being stupid. Yeah, so.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so, because he had, like, a ton of, most of the shit he had wasn't even, like, spray paint. It was, like, I don't know what the shit is, but, like, there's, like, I think it's, like, automotive paint, or, like, different spray where it's, like, a finish for, like, parts that isn't necessarily for painting, but I don't really understand.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To go on metal or something.
Yeah, some shit like that. I don't know, but
interesting.
You know, and it was like a creative environment too, because he isn't again, he's a welder and a metal worker, but not in an inherently artistic way, where he mostly like works with motorcycles and different things like that, or even just random metal work odd jobs.
Yeah.
But he has been known to, like, he made a chair, like a full-blown chair out of nickels.
That's really
when I was
cool.
a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a cool piece, and it was just a chair. It looked like a wicker chair or something, but it was welded together nickels.
That's really neat.
And nobody was allowed to touch it or sit on it or fuck with it. It was just in the house.
Did he sell it?
Nickel chair. I have no clue what happened to it, honestly.
Nickel chair.
It's not around anymore, but it was there forever. And there was also there's a deer head that's, I think it's just like drilled to the shed at my parents' house now. Just outside. It's just like a big ass, it's just literally a mounted deer head.
Wow.
Yeah, just made out of steel.
That's really neat.
Yeah, it looks good too. It's got big antlers. It's like a big stag head.
You said he has a 3D printer now too, right?
Yeah, now he just 3D prints. That's like his thing.
So you come from a pretty creative family then.
I guess so. On my dad's side, everybody does some type of creating. Like my aunt growing up, I thought, so the way I conceptualized it at the time, my aunt Sandy she made dolls and blankets.
Yeah.
But looking back, she was like a fiber artist, really, where she would make us all kinds of dolls. I still have one, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's in my apartment, actually, maybe right now.
Is it the striped one?
It's like
it's
a
your
weird
window, I think.
Yeah, it's like a sock-looking thing.
Yeah.
Like it's, anyway, yeah, so my Aunt Sandy made that. She used to make them for us all the time, just like weird little doll things and blankets and hats and gloves.
That's really cool.
So she used to do that.
Is that your dad's sister?
Yeah. So all my dad's siblings, he's one of 7 also. Like my mom, big family.
Yeah.
And, shit, what was I gonna say?
Creative family members.
Oh, yeah, and like, yeah, they all do weird shit. Like my Uncle Al, I think, used to make drum sets. My Aunt Steve makes whips and sells them online.
Wow.
Like big ass like whips. Not real. I don't think they're like sex whips or anything like that. I think they're like literally like big ass cowboy whips.
Wow.
Like weapons. So
That's neat.
he's fucked. Yeah, those are like, I don't know how the fuck he does that. I think it's basically just like leather working.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool stuff. And my Aunt Sandy and my Aunt Gary, I have 2 Aunt Sandys. One of them is married into the family. Oh, we're right by Wentworth in the MFA.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we're in Fenway.
The MFA reopened today. It's February 3rd.
Oh, wow. Big news in the Boston art world. I'm going to go into Fenway. Yeah.
We'll visit there soon. Let you know what's up.
Shit. Well, and oh yeah, they're actually really interesting because my Uncle Gary is a really, really good oil painter, and
I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, G Huntress, I think his name is, or Gary Huntress Art or some shit.
Yeah.
He's a really talented oil painter, and he mostly does. I know he definitely does a lot of original works, but he is also known to make a lot of very, very accurate Sargent copies. Like that's the style. Like it definitely is the style he's working in, is just contemporary, hyper contemporary Sargent paintings.
That's really interesting.
So,
isn't Sargent a big influence on your work too?
Yeah, I really like his paintings. Definitely not in the way he paints, just because I don't know, that's just really, really advanced oil style.
Yeah.
But I definitely really enjoy and take influence from his compositions and the way they're composed and styled. And I don't know, I've done that a lot. I've made paintings that are just literally just Sargent figures.
Yeah.
Where I've just taken them and just done them in a completely different way or my own way. Sometimes they're unrecognizable, sometimes it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But
what do you like about Sargent's painting? For somebody that maybe isn't familiar.
I don't really know. This is funny to talk about, just driving around Fenway also.
I know.
With like the Carter Museum and the MFA and stuff.
But probably passing Sargent's within
yeah, he probably like walked around this area when he was alive.
Yeah.
Huh. John Singer Sargent, if anybody doesn't know who that is and wants to Google it. But for me, the reason that I really like Sargent's work is because I don't know what it is. I really, really love historical shit. Like a lot. Like I'm really into like Civil War history and some Victorian stuff and just mostly just American colonial history. Mm-hmm. Particularly like 1800s. Anyway, I just really, really love Sargent's work because it's just the most like brooding 1800s American realism. Like just portraiture of just like Boston socialites and rich fucks and dead people. I just love that shit. I don't know.
What do you love about it?
I love the dark brooding colors and how they're just fucking like so lifelike and the eyes look like glass. Like they're just beautiful and very lifelike and moving and interesting and the compositions. I don't know. They're just definitely all slappers. Good shit. really good paintings. Also another really good one is I think it's John Singleton Copley or just Singleton Copley. I don't know. I forget his first name.
It might be John.
Maybe. But yeah, I just love shit like that. Like even if I'm in any museum, I usually go right to the American or just 1800s like portraiture section, and I fuck with that shit. I really, really love old portraits, particularly whether it's European, French, Italian, British, whatever, American, just late 1700s, 1800s oil portraiture is beautiful shit.
Interesting.
So
something that I noticed, just to backtrack a little
Fenway.
bit. What did you say?
I said, look at us in Fenway.
I know.
Fuck this place.
Throwback. Oh, I like the Fenway.
Let's go up to Fenway Park.
All right,
Drive
let's do
right
that.
up to it.
To go back a little bit, though, I noticed that you said that even when you were under 10, you were making sculptures and doodles of little faces. I know there was a live stream recently that you did, actually, where someone asked you about this, but can you talk more about the faces and why that's... Because that's a recurring theme in your work, like a visual theme.
Can I have that water on the floor?
Absolutely.
Thank you. But yeah, no, I could not even tell you where, when, how, or why I began doing this, but I just love painting faces. Fuck, can you hold that?
Yeah.
Shit. I dropped the cap.
You're okay.
It was a green light.
It was a green light.
Fuck.
No time for water.
I know. All right. Here, let me drink that real quick. Well, so as far as I literally almost all of my drawings when I was a kid were just faces and people and things like that, and I really don't know where it started or why I do it. Look at it, it's Fenway Park.
It is.
I don't know where it started. I have no idea.
So what does that mean to you now?
I think that faces, drawing faces, and even people, and I think about a lot of figurative art like this, and I think that this is kind of like I've heard a lot of metaphysical shit or surrealist kind of talk like this, where it's like the figure isn't, or figures and portraits in contemporary art a lot of the time isn't meant to symbolize a person, where that's where John Singer Sargent's paintings are most of them are very different than another artist that may be working the same way right now, where back then, if it was a portrait of some guy, it was meant to symbolize that guy. Where people wanted a portrait of them made, or like, you know, it was a fucking duke or a rich man or a business owner or a monarch. Like, it was meant to, like, this is a painting of John Smith. But now when we see paintings, even when real people sat for them, or even if they're drawn from a photograph, a lot of the times, like, they're totally not meant to be a person. They're not meant to represent a real individual and a real story. It's meant to represent an emotion, or a concept, or an idea, or like a, you know, just a feeling and a vibe, you know. And that's like, even, I mean, think about it, even fucking advertising's like that, where you see a picture of some fucking guy in a shirt and a fucking Target, in the men's section. That's not supposed to be a portrait of that guy. It's supposed to see, like, look, like, you'll look like this guy.
Yeah.
Like, buy this shit. Like, it's, you know, it's serving a purpose that transcends the man's face and his body.
That you do that?
Yeah, and like and maybe I'm not like promoting specific ideas and concepts, but like, you know, if I draw a face and it looks like some like weird, sad, like morose, like creepy thing, and it makes you feel like that, that's like the point.
Yeah.
It's not like a portrait of a guy that looks like that at all.
It's almost more of a portrait of that emotion.
It's a portrait of that feeling, yeah. So you could even be considered a still life.
Interesting.
Like a visceral, metaphysical still life painting of a person.
Still life of meat.
Still life of meat. Kind of like, yeah, like almost like a Hyman Bloom. Like maybe I don't know much about him, but maybe he was literally trying to depict corpses, and maybe it was a purely scientific thing where he just wanted to paint corpses, and that was that. It was totally clinical. I don't know, but I would guess that he was saying something a lot deeper than that about humanity and people and life and death.
Yeah.
Google Hyman Bloom corpse paintings, or like Hyman Bloom MFA exhibit. It's good shit if you're in front of a computer. You probably would have to put 2019 or something. I don't know if there's other Hyman Bloom series and paintings, but
there is at least one Hyman Bloom painting in the Museum of Fine Arts' personal collection
really?
in Boston.
I didn't know
There
that.
is, yeah. I don't know the exact title of it. It's okay. I don't know the exact title of it, but I think it's the back of a corpse that's on a mortician's table. And it's a big, like,
Does it have
4 to
no
6
arms
foot
and
tall.
legs? It's just like a torso?
That's a good question.
I might be making that up. Maybe that's a different thing.
I believe that it has... I remember the back and the, like, backside of the person. Because it's supposed to be a representation of how the blood pooled, and when they turned over, like, kind of, not bruising, but the colors.
Yeah.
A really interesting artist.
Yeah. I learned that from a true crime podcast.
Oh, interesting.
Horrible.
I learned that literally from Hyman Bloom.
From Hyman Bloom. And for anybody who doesn't know, to explain it bluntly, when a person dies, if they're laying down on a position and they stay there for a period of time, their blood pools on the side of their body that is downwards and on the ground.
Yes.
And it will cause a big purple bruising tint on that side of their body.
Not just purple, too, which is something that Hyman Bloom explored.
Oh.
Purple, blue, greens, like a bunch of different colors.
Yeah.
He exaggerated it a lot.
Right, yeah, amplified it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes something very macabre look very beautiful, which I think was part of... I don't know for a fact that was his intent, but I assume that it would be.
You could definitely read that into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he definitely made... I mean, even if he didn't intend to do that, he definitely did that, where he made death a very beautiful thing.
We might have talked about this in the podcast before, but I believe the wall text in that exhibition, at the very least, I don't know if it was based on his writing or if it was a conjecture by the gallerist or the curator, but they were comparing it to Dutch still lifes with fruit and flowers of something.
I forget what those are called.
I don't know if there's a name specifically for it.
I literally think there is, because I was on a Wikipedia for this thing, yeah.
Well, it's essentially the same thing, and we think of fruit and flowers as more beautiful, but it's something that's already dead, and we're enjoying the color of it until it fades. And the curator in this exhibition was comparing Hyman Bloom's corpse paintings to that theory.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a whole genre of still life, and I think you said Dutch, where it was still lifes that featured dying things. Mm-hmm. Or some kind of memento mori skull. Maybe, I don't know if they did things like weapons, or I don't know.
I'm sure it wasn't just them.
Yeah. Oh, Sturo. Okay.
I know that the MFA specifically does have a lot of Dutch still life, so...
Really?
That might be why they were mentioned. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Huh. I think I would like to... I think that I might make that a personal goal going forward, is to know more about the MFA's collection in a more literal way.
They actually have a collection search on their website.
Really?
So you can browse all of their pieces, and there's high-resolution images of all of them, which, under normal circumstances, would pale in comparison to the real thing, but... right now, it would be pretty helpful. And also, if you're in the museum and you want to look that up, you can access it from your phone, and it'll tell you what room in the museum each piece is in.
Huh.
Yep, and a bunch of information about the piece might not be in the wall text.
That's cool.
But to get back to you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's talk more about, since we're already on this topic, thematically, what kinds of things do you think you explore the most in your work, and why are you drawn to those things? All right, when you were first starting
No, it's okay. No, I'll talk about that.
Okay.
No, I don't think that's a bad question. It's just definitely a big question.
It is.
Where
Giving you a hard one.
No, it's okay. I definitely... So I'll just say first that is an answer that changes. That is a living question and answer.
Yeah.
Which way?
Anywhere you want. We're not going anywhere.
Okay, cool.
Just driving.
Where I think there have been a lot of times where I was specifically exploring things like trauma or, death and different, like, horrible... I don't know. Basically, I think no matter what I do, my art is revolving around trauma, traumatic experiences, kind of brooding, dark, sad, mental illness feelings. And, fuck, man, I feel like I'm explaining this so shittily, but...
That's okay. Are they based on things that you've experienced?
I mean, yeah, yes and no, where it's like, I don't know. I just think that, like, I'm kind of, a lot of the times, trying to paint, like, something horrible, essentially, or, like, kind of... I think that there's a feeling that I have felt before that's really, really hard to describe and is impossible, I think, to conjure on purpose, but just pure, like, real terror. Just, like, the worst feeling, like, absolute, like, I've had night terrors a lot, and I feel like that's the only way to really describe this is, like, waking up. Like, there are times where I wake up thinking I'm blind, or I wake up thinking, I don't know, that I've died or something horrible, irreversible, horrible, like, terrible thing has happened to my body, or something, like I lost my limbs or my life or my brain or something.
Yeah.
And I'll wake up screaming, fucking screaming and running, and, like, I'll, like, be hitting, like, I don't know, just fucking freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
And that happened to me a couple times, like, like, one of them I ended up in the hospital over it, and it was a big whole shit show. That happened when I was living with my family. The most recent one was literally at the peak, like, right before Corona, right before the pandemic, where I told you about this, but I literally just fucking freaked the fuck out. I don't know, I just freaked out in the dead of the night, lost my fucking mind. I think I might have thought I was blind or that I was dying or something, and that I was screaming, and
you were asleep for this.
And I was completely asleep, totally fucking not sentient.
Yeah.
My parents called the police on me because I was inconsolable. And then this was really embarrassing.
You're in this lane right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
It was very embarrassing, but when the police showed up, I told them, this is the first thing I remember, but I said, I'm going to fucking shoot myself. As soon as I looked at the cop and said I was going to fucking shoot myself, like an idiot. And then the cop was, then I had to go to the hospital because they said I was going to kill myself. And that was terrible. And that was my last night terror.
What a horrible way to wake up.
It was fucking horrible. And as soon as I said it, I knew what I had done. Because I wasn't suicidal at all. I'm not suicidal right now. I would go as far as to say I'm literally not depressed. Like, I think my mental health is good right now. I'm in a great place in my life.
But you woke up and there was a cop in
your
house.
But I woke up and I told the police that I was going to hurt myself, and they had to do their, I don't know, due diligence or whatever, like, thing they're mandated to do when somebody says that to them.
Which is the right thing for them to
do. Yeah, so I went to the hospital, and then I was out. And it coincidentally, at this time, I also had the flu. I had the flu during this. So that was horrible. But yeah, I think as far as what I'm painting or what I'm trying to paint, a lot of the times it's that feeling. Where I'm trying, like, I don't know, or just viscerally capturing that feeling in some way. Can we turn the heat off?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know. And, like, I've been through a lot of, like, other horrible things. Mostly things that happened in my, like, teenage years or as a kid, you know what I mean? That, like, I've painted from a lot too. Or, like, the thing is, though, is, like, I kind of feel like with the portraits too, or with painting people or, like, these things like that, like, they're almost like non-representational paintings where I'm painting a person as, like, a stand-in maquette to represent something non-representational. So maybe I'm painting about an event, it's kind of like with songs, like where people write lyrics or poems. They may not actually directly characterize the thing that they are writing about or experiencing, but they sum it up with a lot of other descriptions and emotions and things they're experiencing, and I don't know, metaphors and allegories and stuff, and they illustrate something without illustrating it.
Yeah.
Really. So the faces that I paint can be stand-ins for those, where I'm just kind of, I don't know, sometimes I joke to myself and I kind of just say I'm painting vibes.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I'm just capturing a vibe, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I draw from a lot. Where
do you feel like that would be what you'd say maybe your main motivation is to make work?
Definitely not. No, I kind of just do that by accident a lot of the times. And sometimes I paint something that I just try to paint something totally normal. Not really on purpose, but like maybe I'll just want to just draw something nice.
Yeah.
Or a portrait of a person. Sometimes they accidentally look dead, or like some scary thing, or they look sad, or like, you know, and sometimes I don't do that on purpose. Sometimes it just is that way. I think aesthetically I can't really escape that. I think they just look scary or weird or kind of uncanny valley kind of. I think my paintings look like that a lot.
Yeah.
Without my control. It's on purpose a lot, but it isn't always. Sometimes it just is, it just is that way.
Yeah, even your figures have a very trademark style, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, that's definitely just because something I've also done a billion times, or I've been doing for years, is I will paint my own paintings, where I will make a design, or I will paint a figure or a face or something, and then I'll just paint the same thing again on a different canvas. I'll just paint the same shit over, maybe I'll use different colors, or maybe I'll style something a little bit differently, or it'll be expressed differently. I kind of think about it in terms of tone, where it's like, you know, you can say the exact same word and with different emotions, tones, accents. You know what I mean? You could sing something like, even if you're saying the same thing over and over again, you can say it very differently.
Yeah, that's
you know. True. So I do that with paintings a lot. Sometimes as an exercise, sometimes by accident, where I just like, I've literally done that by accident before too, where I recently actually painted a picture. It's kind of an insignificant one. I didn't even hang it up, but so you probably haven't even seen it, but it's just pretty insignificant. But I painted something and looked at it, and I was like, I've literally fucking painted this before. And it was just literally almost identical to just some other painting I painted a few years ago.
That's happened to me before. That's really funny.
I was like, well, shit, I made this already.
Have you ever done a portrait and it was supposed to be of nobody, and then you realized it was completely a portrait of somebody specific and you didn't mean to?
I've totally done that.
Stolen someone's face.
I've totally done that, yeah, a lot of times actually.
Something actually, this is sort of related, but I notice also in your work you do a lot of almost documentarian sort of things. Like you take photos, like candid pictures of people that you know and places that you've been, and you paint those a lot. I do, yeah. I like to do that because... Or pen and ink.
Yeah, I definitely do that with drawing and with journaling, where like, I don't know if this is true. This is probably just some silly Tumblr quote that I just saw when I was in high school or something, but I think about it often. It just stuck with me a lot, where they say people paint, or people take pictures of things they're afraid of losing. That's probably like some embarrassing quote from like a book I haven't read or something. Or like a John Green quote.
It does sound like a Tumblr quote.
It probably, yeah, it definitely was just something I saw on Tumblr. But I think about that a lot still, where I, blah, 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 what was I just saying? Where I just like to, like, I don't know, like, if I'm experiencing a new part of life, or I feel like a part of my life maybe even is ending, or is like significant to me in some way, I definitely like to include it in my art in some way, or either as like an homage or to that time or that feeling, or even as like, how did I get all the way back to your house? We never even GPS'd.
I don't know, you did a good job.
Yeah, we were just in Chestnut Hill and I just got all the way back here. But yeah, no, I just like to capture the things in my life and just cement them into my work, either as
let's go North Shore.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Just drive around some neighborhoods.
Yeah, either to literally just to document them, because like I'm a big journaler. Like I'm constantly writing and journaling and keeping track of my thoughts and what I'm doing or what have done or whatever, or you know, all that shit.
That's something I really admire about you. Because when you say, just for those who don't know this already about Brian, when you say that you are a journaler, you're not just talking about, like, keeping a diary. Like, you keep a very detailed record of everything that happens in your life.
I do. It's obsessive.
Yeah.
I do.
The same size notebooks that you carry on your person all the time. Like, down to the moon phases and the time and the date.
I also track the moon phases, the date, the day of writing. Yep. It's a little weird.
I think it's cool. It's very interesting. It's almost like a contemporary historian.
Yeah, I like
I don't
definitely.
know, is that a term? Is there a name for that? It's not that.
Sure. Or like, yeah, maybe.
Know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would show people one day or something. But I think as far as I shouldn't go to assembly. That'd be a pain in the butt. Fuck it. I'm already in this lane.
Whatever.
But like, yeah, and on top of that, I also keep 3-ring binders, which are more of like a living journal where I use those to mostly. They're basically just paper keepsakes, just ephemera, drawings. People have given me little notes, like things that I've printed out or kept, or drawings or things like that. I keep all of those too. And
you posted some videos of those recently on TikTok.
I did,
too.
yeah. I've been very active on TikTok lately with drawings and my thoughts about art and stuff. Mm-hmm. So if anyone is listening from TikTok, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming by. This is Theo.
Hi.
You probably know that by now. I'm Brian.
I'm Brian.
Welcome to the podcast.
An hour into the episode, it's just about you.
This is the Brian Huntress show. Just kidding. No, it's not. This episode is, I guess.
Yeah, you
that's
and
okay.
Hyman Bloom.
Yeah, me and Hyman.
But yeah, I think that's really interesting because I think that sort of detailed documentation of your life really informs your work, or at least it informs. I don't know. I feel like it affects you as a person. Like when you haven't done that, I can tell you're not as.
Oh, when I'm not journaling or I'm not keeping track of shit, I'm so discombobulated, and I'm pretty fucking. My mental health can get kind of fucked up, or I can get kind of stressed out, or mostly just kind of scattered.
Well, in a positive way, though, it's really interesting to see how you utilize that as a tool and sort of almost studying your own life.
Yeah, I definitely like it to be that way. Just. I don't know, man. Like, I think that like your life's better when you do that because so many people, even people who aren't artistic or aren't trying to be anything, we dissect shit. We dissect movies, people, books, ideas, politicians. Like everybody analyzes and unpacks and critically thinks about things. Like we all do it, whether it's about fucking sports or about infinite jest. Like we do that. Yeah. So, and I think how could it possibly be a bad thing to do that about your own life?
Yeah.
And about the people around you and what you're experiencing, what you're going through. And I don't know, like, I mean, if you're going to talk about a subject or a specific thing or a trade or a discipline and you want to sound like you know what the fuck you're talking about, you better be journaling about it or writing about it or studying it. Right?
Yeah. Reflecting on what you've learned.
Yeah, reflecting on what you've learned or what you've learned, others have said or whatever. You know what I mean? And I think about that with myself, where if I want to be on top of my shit, and I want my life to be good, I better know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like keeping track of your finances. Maybe I'm like kind of like, maybe it's different because I've been through all this like dumb mental illness shit and like as a kid, and I don't know, like there were a lot of parts of my life where there were counselors and people in my life essentially like forcing me to be goal oriented and forcing me to be emotionally intelligent and follow the 5 rules of the program and shit like that.
Is that something you want to be specific about?
Oh yeah, that's cool. Well, I don't do drugs and I don't drink, and that's the extent of it. When I was a kid I did, and I had to go to programs because of it, and that was a big old part of my teenage years, because I haven't done any drugs or drank since I was 16, because I don't know.
Good for you.
Because I was just a lost and vulnerable and fucked up teenager. So.
That's a feat, though.
Yeah,
What is that, coming
I guess
up on
so.
9 years?
Yeah, actually, 9 years since that. That's fucking weird.
Good for you.
Yeah, damn.
It's
That's
interesting
fucked.
too, though.
That's fucked up, dude.
It's interesting though, because I feel like I see that directly reflected in your work a lot.
Yeah.
Specifically, like references to like drug use and things like that.
Yeah, I definitely thought a lot about drug use too, because I went to programs, as a kid, but I also, when I turned 21, I started working in programs too, where I was working in addiction treatment in that field, just not as like a counselor or anything, because I don't have any degrees, but just as a general staff person, you know, the type. And, you know, I was the man in the white coat, restraining crazy people. Not really, but so, you know, it was just, it like basically all I did was just take frequent smoke breaks, play checkers with clients, do an attendance every 30 minutes.
That must have been interesting to be on the other side of it.
It was an absolute mind fuck at first. And my first job doing that, I guess I shouldn't be specific about that, but my first job doing that in a program, I did not feel confident. I did not think I was very good at it. I felt like a disaster employee, and like they regretted hiring me. And I worked there for probably a little under a year. And then my second job doing it, I worked in a totally different population. I was working, my first job was with adolescents, and my second job was with adult men who were usually aged anywhere from like 35 to 55 and were transitioning out of prison or homelessness or whatever. And that was... Oh, is this a one-way?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, cool. That was a fucking wild job. I felt very confident and good at that, but that was really interesting because, you know, there's the opioid epidemic right now, just happening, I guess. That's been happening for a number of years, a very long time here and other places. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're back at assembly. Are we? Am I crazy? Is this assembly?
No. Actually,
oh, no, it literally isn't. I'm an idiot.
I was like, where? Really?
Nope, totally not assembly. But yeah, it was a very dark time because almost every client was there having something to do with fentanyl. And a lot of those clients died, and that was really fucked up. And a lot of them were, and it was kind of an unstable program because of just the nature of that specific, you know, organization, where there was a lot of fucking loose ends and a lot of fucking. It just was ugly, and there was a lot of drugs in the facility and a lot of fucking mayhem, and it was just. I did my best.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I don't know if I should... Maybe this isn't, like, great to go into detail about. I have no idea, but I don't give a shit, I guess. But yeah, dude, it was fucking ugly at some point. Nobody, like, died there, but people died after leaving a lot. Like, people would just leave and die. And then I'd hear about it, and I'd be like, well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I just had to live with that, so...
You made a lot of art about that time, right?
I made a lot of art during that time and about that time, for sure. That actually was my last job.
When was that?
It was literally my last fucking job. That was in 2018.
2018.
That's fucked. I haven't had a real job since 2018.
Well, that's not true. You're self-employed.
I know. I've been making art, but I haven't been had a W-2.
Yeah.
Since then, you know what I mean?
Good for you.
It feels. I feel like a bum, dude.
You're paying your rent though.
Yeah, it's it. I pay my rent. Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. But yeah, so that was fucked. That was a fucked up job. And actually, weirdly enough, there was an old motif that I still paint sometimes, but not nearly as much. Where I'm gonna go this way.
All right.
Where I would paint hallways and corridors.
I've seen that.
Yeah, a lot. And like weird doorways and people hiding around corners and in doorways and things like that. And that is a reference to that. And I usually would kind of it would mean to me in a way like just the kind of idea of being trapped. Not as like a prisoner or a patient in a way, but being trapped in like the fucking labyrinth of yourself and of the horrible shit that, you know, a lot of people go through, especially when they're in and out of programs.
Yeah. And
detox or they're chronically homeless or chronically imprisoned, or, you know, incarcerated. Like, you know, so that was kind of like the way I symbolize that. And not even just to symbolize that, but even people just kind of trapped inside of their selves in less extreme ways, you know what I mean? And that those were what the corridors and the hallways symbolized.
Yeah.
It's just the veins of the mind.
That's really interesting.
But yeah, I think it just started off as like me just having to sit in hallways all the time.
Oh yeah, because that was literally part of your job.
I had to just hang out in hallways. And that's how that last job I had, the program with the adult men, the program, it wasn't like a big room or anything. The program in its entirety basically was just a long ass hallway. Just a long fucking narrow hallway with all kinds of rooms, my desk, the medicine room, the nurse's station, all just in one hallway. And I just, the patients floated up and down the hallway, chilling, doing what they do. Just fucking around.
Yeah.
That's the thing too that's about those programs is you think on the outside that it's like group therapies and doctors and all this shit, but like it's not.
Yeah.
It's just chilling. Like you're just shooting the shit, getting up to shit, hanging out. You're just not doing shit.
Interesting.
Smoking cigarettes when you can.
Yeah. So would that be like a detox center?
That was a detox. Well, I worked at two places at the same time that were the same program, but were technically two different ones. There was one of them was a detox, which was people who were brand new, who were freshly off the street. People. The first place was people who needed to be medically stabilized, essentially.
And that was the adolescent center?
No, the adolescent center was essentially the same thing, but the adult center was people who needed to be stabilized in some way, who were like detoxing or, all fucked up or whatever. Just people trying to get their legs back.
Yeah.
And the other side of the hallway, essentially. Well, so that was one side of the hallway. And the other side of the hallway was something called the clinical stabilization unit, which you could only go to if you had already completed a detox.
Oh.
Directly before that. And then, so you couldn't, you ideally didn't have any drugs in your system, and you were supposed to be, the goal was to be clinically stabilized.
Interesting.
Clinical stabilization services.
So would that be mental health counseling?
Kind of.
Okay.
That would basically, in essence, is preparing you to either go back into regular living society, or go to a sober house, or what is something called a TSS, which is a very longer term program that someone would go to, where they're trying to get into a better program or a more whatever.
So it's interesting because it sounds like you were doing pretty I know you say you don't have any degrees or anything, but it still sounds like pretty in-depth work, and that you were pretty established in that field, in the position that you were at. So how come you went full-time art? What made that switch?
Actually, this is like kind of a fucked up thing, but like I was basically, for one, I was fucking miserable at that job. I wasn't making enough money. I was working over 60 hours a week. I was going fucking insane. I would have dreams about that job. I was thinking about it when I fucking left. I didn't hang out with anybody. I didn't play shows. I wasn't painting nearly as much. I only was drawing in my notebook at the time.
Which was partially at work, right?
Yeah, always at work. Almost all my drawing was at work. But blah, 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 blah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And also, something like fucked up too that happened, because I was at the end of my rope. I was having some problems with the management. It was just, I was losing my fucking mind. I was working alone often, where I was working in a unit with 30 clients, and it was just me for anywhere from 8 to 16 hours at a time.
Wow.
Just working alone with literally 30 adult men. And the thing was too is you get into a fucked up mindset when you're doing that, because they gotta respect you.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna run the show.
Yeah.
So I was just ideally you're supposed to set a good example for them to act like you, but I was acting like them, so they respected and listened to me.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know, it was a fucked up time. But also politically at that time it was during Donald Trump's presidency, and right around the time I quit was when all the fucked up shit at the border was happening, where they were cracking down at the southern border and putting people in cages and fucking ICE detention centers and shit, and all this horrible fucking shit was happening. And the infamous kids in cages shit started happening, and everyone was talking about that. And I was looking into it, and they were talking about all the horrible shit that was going on at the ICE detention centers. And I'm not even talking about the absolute worst of it, but they were there's no food, there's no clean towels, these people don't have soap, there's fucked up, and some of the shit they were saying was some of the shit that was happening at my fucking program.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the? Like, some of the same complaints they were making about these fucking ice facilities were shit people were saying about the place I was fucking working.
Wow.
And I was just like, I can't fucking do this. This is fucked.
Yeah.
I was just like, I literally walked in and quit the same day.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck you, man. I didn't say that. I wish I did. But no, I walked in and I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And I quit. And that...
Respect, though, for not wanting to contribute to something like that.
It was fucking... I don't know. I have regrets, I guess, because, like, I wanted to stay and change it from the inside, and that whole ridiculous bullshit train of thought that so many people have in situations like that.
I was gonna say, don't we all?
It just does... You can't.
Yeah.
It's like...
Not from the inside of a system that's already established.
You are a drop in an ocean. That is like a behemoth of a system that has existed for a lot longer than you have.
Yeah.
And if you're just going to go in alone and think you're going to collect a paycheck for $13 an hour and change the world of mental health counseling, you
don't have backing behind you.
No, it's just not going to work. So I just fucking left, and I was like, I'm going to make art. And I made a promise to myself that I was going to just make art and try to do what I did, what am I trying to say? And just support myself that way, or support my life that way.
Isn't 2018 the same year that you did the tarot deck?
That was, yeah. I did. I finished that and launched that Kickstarter right after I quit.
Talk about that a little bit.
So, basically, during that whole time I worked there, I was drawing tarot cards all the time. Where for a while I just felt like I was making tarot-themed art. And I drew the Major Arcana, which is basically in a tarot deck. There's 78 cards, and there's 22 Major Arcana, and I think 56 Lesser Arcana, which means the Major Arcana are the cards, the popular ones, like the Magician, the Sun, the Devil, Wheel of Fortune, Hanged Man. They call them trump cards. And the Lesser Arcana are the bulk of the deck, which are things like the Six of Pentacles or the Four of Wands or the Page of Cups or something. But I drew the Major Arcana, the first 22 cards, and I printed a little sample of those. And for literally like almost a year, I just had those lying around, and I'd showed people, or I'd have them at a merch table at a show, I don't know. Like, basically, everybody bothered me about it for like a year, being like, when are you going to print these? When are you going to finish this? When are you going to finish this? And I just didn't think I was gonna, and I just didn't care anymore. But then after I quit my job, I just was like, fuck, like, I got to do something. And then before I was even done with the deck, I was promoting the cards a lot online and was getting a good response. And then somebody was just like, oh, you should make a Kickstarter. And I was like, shit, that would be fucking sick. So I did, and then it got funded in one day.
Wow.
The goal was $1,000, and it got to $1,000 in one day. Yeah.
That's insane.
And it was a 30-day campaign, and then by the end of the campaign, it had raised, I think it was like $3,700. It was like, can I have a sip of that water? I'm like, I got like cotton.
You've been talking speaking for like an hour.
But yeah, so it got, long story short, it got significantly more funding than I could have imagined. So I had to finish the fucking deck because I couldn't finish it. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm an idiot. Like, I didn't finish it. So I was panicking, and it was a fucking disaster because I had no idea how e-commerce works. I had no idea. I had to print a shipping label. I didn't know how to securely package and ship a piece of art without, a framed painting exploding in the mail and somebody opening up a package that's just,
broken glass,
filled with broken glass and fucking broken wood and a canvas. It was a fucking nightmare. So basically, the tarot deck was great. I got them all shipped out. That was nice. Everyone got their deck. And it was a great big success, whatever, but I just shipped them out like a fucking idiot.
Oh.
Every one of them.
What do you mean?
I was literally just taking bubble mailers and throwing the tarot deck in and taping it.
That's
and just
what
being
I
like, here we go. Good to go. Or I was just putting glass fucking framed paintings into a thing with no fragile warning. no bubble wrap, no paper, just like good to go.
Hey, that's how you learn, though.
Yeah, so I was getting so many emails of people like, you fucking, what the fuck?
Didn't someone do a review of your tarot deck and mention that specifically? Yeah,
so there was this wonderful woman who does tarot deck reviews. I think she does a lot of like, I don't know if they're like a cult or like, it's like an occult or Wicca tarot YouTube channel. I forget her name. If I can find it, I'll post it or put it in the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did a really long and very in-depth, good, like really, it was she gave it a lot and thought about it a lot, and it was really cool to see someone break down the deck like that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of reviews, but that was probably the best one to watch. But she did not like the box, which was very funny. I don't know, she actually wasn't talking about the shipping, but she was talking about the actual cardstock folded box the tarot deck came in.
Oh.
And she did not like it.
How come?
I don't know. I guess it was just poor printing quality, or it was flimsy. I mean, it was like, if you've ever had a tarot deck or a deck of cards, it was just a standard cardstock card box.
Yeah.
That any it wasn't anything special. It wasn't, cardboard or thick, like, it was standard. Anyway, but yeah, I guess that's like, the thing is, though, is I didn't know this when I was making it, but the tarot community online, as far as tarot collectors go and as far as tarot readers go, who do it professionally and as a thing, take the printing and the quality of the cards really seriously, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I printed it, but like I've heard from tarot readers, or people that do it very seriously and very often, that they want bigger cards, thicker prints. I've heard, some people don't like them flimsy or the kind of prints that stick to your fingers. Like that
makes sense.
They have a lot. Yeah, they have a lot of needs and things like that. And as far as tarot collectors with special edition, limited run tarot decks, like there are people that expect a very high quality from a limited run art tarot deck. I didn't know. I just didn't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what you learn.
Yeah, and like I didn't even know that was a community. That there's a community of people that collect art tarot decks, indie limited run tarot, or that there was a community. I knew that there was a community of tarot readers, just because I know a lot of people that do. I, for a time, knew people that did psychic readings or professional tarot reading. I don't know. I've just been around that before, so I knew that those people were around, but I thought they were just using any old deck of tarot cards.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was that fucking serious.
That was that deep.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
but it is. But it is. Those people are fucking for real.
It's really interesting.
Take it seriously.
It's really interesting because I feel like a pattern that you're kind of talking around, maybe, or not intentionally, but something you mentioned a little bit, is that you really hit the ground running with a lot of your projects. It's like the idea happens almost after you've started doing it.
I think that I heard this quote from somebody. Actually, it's kind of embarrassing because he's one of those like hustle YouTube guys. But this guy Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, as he's known online, makes these really, really motivating, hyped up, videos that are usually, whatever. I don't think that capitalism should be like packaged as self-help. So those are tricky, but whatever. But he had this really interesting quote that I think about often still, which is that, I forget what it was, but he was just like, fuck, what the fuck was it? No, he said, I think that like strategy is developed by action. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't think that's the exact quote, but it was a paraphrase. But he was essentially saying that you can't sit there and hang out and plan and strategize and what you're going to do and how it's going to happen and exactly formulate a detailed plan of action. You just got to like rip it
and begin.
Yeah, and then if you're diligent or you're on your feet, oh, this is a cool mural. Yeah, I mean, if you just stay on your feet with the shit, you're gonna figure out a fucking plan. And if you fail, you fail. Sometimes you do. I've started a million projects that just fucking assed out. It just didn't work or were dumb. Out. Yeah, I've done that a bunch. The tarot deck was like, it felt like, I mean, I wouldn't call it a fluke because, I give myself more credit than that. It was a good project. It went well. A lot of people liked it, and I'm proud of myself, but in a sense, it was kind of a fucking fluke, because that was the first time I had ever crowdfunded a project in my life. That was the first time I had to ship out like over 100 fucking pieces of art like real quick. Like, I had to get that done. There was no avoiding doing that. Yeah. I had to, and like, that was the thing, is that there wasn't any time to strategize or figure out how I was going to do it, because I just fucking did it. I just let it rip, and I just jumped in, and I was lucky that it worked out. There was a lot of parts that didn't work out. There's a lot of parts I could have done better, and a lot I learned from.
Well, if you ever do it again, now you know.
But yeah, that's the way to do it, is like, for me, I know that I don't know. And you gotta keep in mind too, I'm not just taking stupid risks or just risking shit that I have not thought about at all. I'm not just jumping in blind. Yeah. Like, it's like I consider it in my head taking calculated risks. You know, where I have thought, you know, I think about things like my finances. I think about safety. I think about how my actions will affect other people. I don't know. There's like a lot of like practical things that I think about that I feel like are very important. But besides any basic shit, like, I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not going to hurt myself. I'm not going to lose all my money. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Fuck it. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, as long, you know, if those boxes are checked, I'm down to jump in. But not on something that's obviously stupid. I'm not going to just do something fucking stupid. Yeah. Or something that I don't believe in. If, you know, but...
Do you have any examples of something that you had been asked to do, or something you thought about doing that was just a big no?
Probably.
Is that a taboo question?
No, totally not. I think, like... I guess it's hard to think of specific examples, but things that I might stay away from.
Logos.
Yeah. Like commissions that I didn't want to do. Yeah, logos, probably not. Yeah. I'm not. I don't do graphic design things. Not because I don't think graphic design is important or anything, but like, I just am not a graphic designer. So
I'm laughing because we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But...
on the podcast? Did we talk about...
you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, but when people want, like, can you design, like, I don't know, whatever, like some word art? Or like a...
It's very different from
like a picture of, like,
sculpture.
Like, imagine, like, if somebody came up to you wanting something like the Blue Cross Blue Shield logo. Yeah. It's like, dude, I don't... Like, you can find somebody that does that kind of shit. Yeah. Specifically that. People that literally went to school to do that type of thing. Yeah. And you looked at my Instagram.
And you thought...
with my fucking oil paintings. And thought that's... I'm the guy for that job. I had a commission guy who hit me up one time, not even like talking shit about this guy, but somebody hit me up and said, hey, like, I was looking for an artist to do... what did he want? I think it was illustrations for a book. He wanted illustrations for a book, and he said, hey, like, a friend of yours recommended you as a good artist that, like, takes commissions. And I said, okay, like, what are you looking for? And he's, like, described it, and he wanted, like graphic, like, digital, like, kids book illustrations or something. Yeah. And I was like, I can only do, like, what I have posted. Yeah. Like, the art that you've seen me post. And then he said that he didn't look at what I posted. Oh. And hadn't seen my art before.
That's tough with a recommendation, because I feel like that's happened to me a few times before, too, where somebody with
maybe I just
intention,
talk shit and I should, but...
No, it's okay. I mean, I don't even think you're talking shit, necessarily. It's just, like... I don't know.
Anyway.
Look at the portfolio of the person you're hiring.
I feel like, that probably doesn't really answer your question, though, where you were talking more of... any things that I judged as not being a good idea or a good risk or something. Yeah. I definitely I don't know. I think what I usually almost always things that I will throw out immediately or not do that I think are a bad idea are almost always financial. Yeah. Where I definitely try not I'm a conservative investor, so to speak, with my creative ventures. Like, I'm definitely not willy-nilly. Like, even if it's only a couple $100 or something that I'm I don't know, like, especially with merch. Not just art. Like, I'll invest my money in my art, but I don't like to invest... I'm cautious about merchandising things.
Yes.
Like, I'm not about to fire off 100 coffee mugs with my drawings on them or something. Like, that's shit. That's shit planning.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Like, you got to be really particular.
Unless you already have a demand for that, but...
And that's exactly what I was going to say next. As long as if you have, like, carefully... That is something that requires a bit of research and actual real planning before you do that. Is if you're investing in merchandising, otherwise you're going to end up accidentally having, like, 300 trucker hats with, like, that you can't sell that have like your painting on the forehead of it.
Oh no.
And you're gonna really miss that, like $500 you spent to print the shit.
Yeah.
Dude, a fucking dog just ran across the road behind us. Right in front of that car. Yeah, he made it to the grass. That car just stopped short though behind us.
Wow.
Huh. Anyway, blah 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 blah.
I think that's definitely true.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's like, if you're making art for the sake of making art, you can't fail. But if you're making art for the sake of selling it, there's definitely poor decisions that can be made.
Yeah, and you gotta account for that. Like, you gotta accept the fact that you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna make some shit calls and you're gonna have blind spots.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, and if you can't stomach that, then you shouldn't do it. But, like, I would just suggest, like, if you make the art, but if you're merchandising, you gotta think critically and think slowly.
All right, I'm gonna give you the textbook 2020-2021 question.
Okay.
How's quarantine changed your perspective?
How's quarantine changed my perspective on my art making? I'm sorry, I shouldn't make fun of people for asking that.
No, it's a great question. I've answered it so many times.
Me too,
I'm
actually.
Sure you have too,
I have. That's kind of funny.
It's a good question though, and there's a lot to be said.
Dude, it has caused me. I think one thing that I've thought about a lot is that it's definitely caused me to think wildly differently about the way my actions affect other people. You know what I mean? Completely. Yeah. That doesn't even have to do with art making, so to speak, but it has made me think so much about even, like, just the shit we do on a day-to-day bit. Whether or not you sanitize your fucking hands. Yeah. Is like a fucking big deal now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we tried to talk about this on an episode that we ended up scrapping, but...
Oh, did we?
Yeah. But we just fucking had COVID. I don't know if it's cool if we talk... if you're cool with talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have it anymore, but
we got it. Yeah, we fucking got it. It was so fucking scary.
Yeah.
It was a fucking disaster. It wasn't a disaster. We made it work.
It could have been. The reason it felt like a disaster is because we didn't know if it was going to be a disaster.
We didn't know if we were going to fucking die. I felt like I was going to go to jail. Like, I felt horrible.
Yeah.
Like, mentally. And it was so fucking scary.
Yeah.
And we quarantined together.
Because I was with you when you realized that you had it.
When I realized I had it, which meant that you definitely fucking had it.
Yeah.
You know, and because we are part of the same pod, not because we're just hanging out willy-nilly, but because we thought we had it locked down in a way that, whatever, we fucked up. I fucked up. Anyway.
We both did.
Yeah, we learned...
We learned quickly.
We learned our fucking lesson.
And thank God we didn't spread it to anybody else.
Yeah, shockingly we didn't, actually. Yeah. Everyone else in our inner circle did not get it. It was just us two.
Yeah.
And some people in my additional inner circle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Family, man.
Yeah, but... So I fucked...
You were too far over here.
Oh, shit, I am. Okay. Yeah, so I fucked it. But yeah, that was like... Dude, I don't know. I don't even know how the fuck it's affected my work. I definitely think it's affected my work, and I think my work is about other people more than it's ever been.
Interesting.
Or I think about other people significantly more when I make my art. Not just as an audience, but, like, I think there was a lot of time where I only made art or expressed things about my experience and what I was going through. But I don't know if I really do that as much anymore. I do that still, but that's not just the whole thing. Like, I don't think that I'm making as much art that's purely autobiographical anymore. I think I'm making a lot of art that when I'm making it from my heart and soul, I'm thinking a lot about other people too.
It's interesting because I feel like that's reflective of the time, even. Like, it's almost as if there was a sort of bubble of individualism that popped when we all realized that this affects everyone.
Yeah, because that was the thing, too. Like, I don't know about you, but, like, being tapped into the music scene a lot before this, and I guess still during this, you know, keeping up with everybody, but even, like, all of us, or a lot of people releasing albums that were made pre-COVID, after COVID, like, those lyrics, like, introspective, you know, lyrics about yourself, autobiographical, about your experience, like, just didn't hit the same.
Yeah.
Like, after a fucking pandemic started. And I felt that. I'm not talking shit about anybody. This isn't a sub post. You know, like, a lot of the music I made pre-COVID and at the beginning of COVID just didn't feel the same after. And, you know, this is just a lot more to think about other than just feeling, you know, self-loathing and this and that. Like, it's just not about that. And not to mention, as far as the whole fucking pandemic goes, even over the summer with the literal civil rights movement happening alongside and within the pandemic. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just even that, like, just makes you think, like, I don't know where I landed after it all happened, or while it's still happening, but I just definitely feel like quiet, private, introspective work that is only about you and is purely autobiographical, it just doesn't hit the same, man. Yeah. It just doesn't feel the same. Yeah. And I still make that with my art, but I just think that it's really a lot. It's become more important than ever to me to just, I don't know. Ooh. I feel like I'm getting kind of negative here.
All right, maybe no more COVID talk.
Am I getting, okay, fuck all that.
No, yeah, it's interesting though. It's interesting because I think it's, I don't know if this is a true statement because I met you on New Year's Eve before COVID for maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, we chilled. No, it was like an hour. It was chill. I went to your New Year's Eve party.
Yeah, and I wasn't drunk, but I felt like I was because I was sick, which is really funny. Right. I didn't have COVID.
You had COVID. Yeah.
I had the flu, or something, and I was feverish, and I felt really sick, and I felt gross. And for some fucking reason...
You were just at a party?
I hosted the party.
With the flu?
I told all my friends, I was like, dude, I don't feel good. I just, like, downed a bottle of NyQuil. Not really, but, like, I was
slamming.
Yeah.
Sick as fuck, high as shit, drunk, fucking drinking NyQuil.
No. Mom, I'm sorry. That's not what happened.
We're just kidding. Theo doesn't do drugs.
I was
drinking, it's okay. That doesn't count.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. I was a little fucked up. And I vividly remember I was laying on the floor listening to the Mountain Goats. I think my roommate was playing guitar. And it was supposed to be a banger. Like, we had this whole plan, but then another person in my friend group was also hosting a party, and they were closer to the center of Boston. Yeah. I don't even blame them. It turned out to be cool, but...
Yeah, it happens.
Because I was sick, I didn't want to get on the train and go see it, so I just was like, whoever wants to come to my house, I'm sick. Let's go. And like, there. A couple people showed up. You were one of them.
I didn't know that you were sick. I didn't get that memo.
Oh, shit.
Can I go? What the fuck is going on?
You have a red light. Don't worry about it.
Alright, so this guy's just fucking...
This person's...
He's just in outlaw mode.
But,
running a red light at 2 miles an hour.
We love it. Your beach.
Yeah, oh god.
Yeah, I don't know. I met you then, and it was really funny because I remember everybody was saying, and I feel like this was a universal feeling too, which, like, I don't know, fuck me, but everybody was talking about, and I had a specific conversation with you at that time about this feels different. Like, this year.
Oh, the 2020.
This feels like a new decade. This is my year. Like, I remember you said something along the lines of, like, I can't believe that I'm seeing this right now. Like, this is crazy that I'm here right now.
2020.
Yeah, I remember that was a really interesting moment because I didn't know you at all, and you just looked me in the eyes and said that, and I was like, damn,
yeah, dude.
Like, good for you, dude. That's awesome.
It. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was like, that was profound. I can't believe it's not 2020 anymore.
I know.
What the fuck, dude?
It's like when you, like, sleep through an exam. It's just like the whole year.
Yeah, dude. We spent a year. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, other than that experience, I didn't know you very well at that time, other than as a person that I was Facebook friends with that made a lot of art. But it seems like your work has gone, when you're saying it went from being really introspective to being more, like, about thinking about other people.
Yeah.
I feel like that documentarianism that you've had, which little did I know you were already doing for years, has come through in your work a lot more. Like, you post a lot of portraits of people or drawings from photos or... I mean, there were some paintings about COVID in the beginning, too, but a lot of almost savoring the good things I think I've seen you make throughout this year. For sure.
And one thing I've really been trying to do a lot, and this podcast is actually an example of that as well, is like, I'm fucking sick of trying to be a fucking brand.
Yeah.
Or feel like a fucking brand, or like a fucking internet personality.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. I'm not that. I'm a fucking vulnerable ass person with fucking feelings. I'm an idiot. I'm smart. I do dumb shit. I have relationships. I'm not a fucking Instagram account.
Yeah.
I'm not a Spotify account. I'm not the analytics. I don't want to be that shit anymore. And if I'm gonna put shit out, and I'm gonna, you know what I do? Like, I think about this in my paintings. When I'm like gonna sell some paintings, or if I'm hanging a show, or if I'm making a body of work, one thing I like to ask myself about every painting is, would I be okay with just this piece being viewed alone? Just individually. Does every single one of these pieces stand alone?
Damn.
And I think about that. That's just whatever, just something I think about.
That feels like a lot of pressure.
It is, but I've been trying to think about my like what I'm sharing online, or what I'm saying, or like, is my message, like, if this like is, I don't know. I'm not saying like don't shit post, and I don't think everything has to be sincere, but like, I don't want, like, because the people that are following me aren't fucking, they're not like fans and followers. That's like my cousin, or like some fucking kid I went to high school with, or somebody who met me at a show and thought I was cool. It's not fucking numbers. So like, I want to be real.
Do you think you used to feel like that? Like, we're focusing on the branding more?
Yeah, I think I was, and I think that maybe served me at the time, but I think it was kind of misguided. Where I think that, like, I don't know, dude, Arby's with like a snarky Twitter account is like is people that should be thinking about branding.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Or like somebody trying to sell fucking like organic soap.
Yeah.
Not fucking me, who's just a fucking person, a fucking citizen, a human in the world that's trying to make art and connect with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. If I had a bazillion followers and like thousands of dollars coming in the bank down the wire every day, then then it'd be, maybe I should put somebody on that, hire a guy to think about branding. But like,
I feel like it must limit. I mean, I'm saying this as if I don't also do this, but
no, it's okay. You're the interviewer.
I feel like it must feel limiting to be kind of staying within that brand and trying to be, Brian Huntress, versus just kind of processing what you're processing and documenting what you lived through.
There is nothing like, I've seen people do this, I've fucking done this. Like, there's nothing like meeting somebody. I was just looking at the battery. There's nothing like meeting somebody.
Wrap up soon, probably. Yeah,
we'll wrap up soon. There's nothing like meeting somebody at a show.
Yeah.
Or through art or through music that you think in just a flash of a moment they might be a really, really cool person.
Yeah.
Or a friend. Or somebody that you might know for a long time.
Yeah.
But you just like hand them a business card.
Yeah.
Or give them a free copy of your CD.
It's alienating.
And sometimes maybe that person wasn't gonna be your lifelong. You fall in love with people at shows like you do on the fucking train.
Yeah.
Where you're like looking at some asshole sitting across from you and and imagine yourself like marrying them or something. But do you do that? No, not really. Maybe, you think a lot. You mythologize random strangers.
Yeah. Like,
everybody does that. But,
you make eye contact on the bus.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about it when they get off the stop.
Yeah, and you do that at shows, too. And, and that's the thing, though, is that, it's not like you're a dick for trying to sell your stuff or, put yourself out there. But there is a certain point where, sometimes you go business when you should have gone personal.
Yeah.
And,
I've done that.
I've done it too. I've done it so many times.
I think anybody that's an entrepreneur or a self-started brand has done that.
Yeah. Oh, we're in Lynn. That's weird. I haven't known where we are for like the last like 45 minutes.
I feel like you just keep commenting. You're like, oh, wait, we're here.
Oh, it's encore. Oh.
We're in assembly. We're not in assembly.
Oh, not assembly. Okay. But yeah, dude, so that's what I'm trying to think about now, because I've done that a bunch, and before all this, I didn't really consider that I could not do that.
Yeah.
And that it wouldn't be death, and that I wouldn't lose money or followers, or I wouldn't miss an opportunity.
Well, it's interesting too, because maybe this is
whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, though, because when you're saying that you have these feelings during COVID, I don't think you're alone in that. Like, I almost wonder if maybe there's more of an audience for that kind of vulnerability now than there would have been before.
I completely agree, because that's the kind of shit I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I want to hear realness. I don't want to. It's kind of like the difference between a podcast, like, or whatever, and like listening to your favorite artist being interviewed on a free-form podcast versus listening to your favorite artist being interviewed on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Like,
one of them is branding. Like
Jimmy Kimmel, like, it's like a fucking scripted bullshit, like Walmart fucking like shrink-wrapped interview.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, late night comedy, some people like it. Whatever, TV, great. But like, it's...
Yeah, it's like a prepackaged version.
It's so impersonal.
Yeah.
It's so, like, it's just fraudulent and stupid and processed, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, you don't, like, when you listen to somebody you admire being interviewed on something, you don't get anything out of it. You don't learn anything about them.
That's true.
But you do when you listen to them on a whatever podcast for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours talking about whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's what I like. Maybe that's not what everybody likes.
That's what I like.
Yeah, for sure.
It was the idea that you pitched to me when we first thought about this podcast, actually.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what the fuck. I don't even remember what we talked about at the beginning of this episode. But that's another thing too. To go back to Gary Vee, I'm like outing myself here as a Gary Vee fan. But like,
you are very influenced by Gary Vee. You talk about it a lot.
I fuck with Gary Vee a lot. I do like him, but he's good. And he's a smart guy, and I don't think he's a shitbag. I have faith that he's not a bad dude.
Yeah.
But one thing he's put in I think it was a TikTok, literally like a week ago or something, was that he was talking about people being storytellers instead of being experts. Where like we all want to be the authority on Boston art and art making and style and this and that, but like that's impossible because we're not. I'm not an expert on anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I am a person, and I can talk to you about my life and what I love and what I think is cool. And that's what we should do, and like talk about myself and who I am and stuff, and that's what I want to do too, talking about being vulnerable.
Yeah.
But the example he used is, I know you never really were an Eminem fan, but
yeah, not my
but
thing.
Eminem's first 2 albums, dude, were only about his life.
Yeah.
And you knew everything about him. You knew his fucking daughter's name, his relationship with his mom, his girlfriend, like who his manager was, where he lived. Like, he just said everything. Yeah. The guy had no boundaries.
It's probably why he has such a diehard fan base that no matter what he does,
dude,
the people are still Eminem fans.
At the time, that, like, I mean, what the fuck? Nahant? What town is that? I've never even heard of that town.
You drove too far.
Nahant?
I don't know.
I've never heard of this fucking town in my life. But
wow.
But yeah, so I guess his point in this TikTok, in this Gary Vee TikTok, was that the reason that a big reason everyone fucked with Eminem so hard was because he spilled his guts. He let it all out there.
Yeah.
And before you take that advice, definitely refer back to our last episode where we talked a little bit about things like internet safety and sharing online.
Yeah.
And making sure you're not, saying something that people will take and use against you or hurt you with or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, not that anyone's gonna, I don't know, whatever.
Things can be taken out of context, though.
Yeah, and it's not like, I don't mean like someone be like, you fucking said this, you piece of shit. Yeah. I mean like, accidentally telling everybody on your podcast about how you were hospitalized for telling people you're going to kill yourself during a night terror. Because I did that just now.
That
on this
story's
episode.
not funny, but it is knowing you, because I could totally
it's
picture
true.
how you said that. You
Dude.
say that you're gonna kill yourself like all the time,
And
it's not,
I shouldn't.
It's not true.
It's not okay either. I shouldn't take that in vain. I'm not setting a great example. I probably shouldn't. It's all right though. Where no one's perfect.
I know.
But I will admit it. I do use that phrase too much.
I could just picture
Right.
you in your living room, like waking up and seeing a police officer, and your parents freaking out, be like, "I'm gonna fucking kill myself."
Oh my god, it was so stupid. I didn't know because I wasn't like awake. I wasn't like sentient.
Oh my god.
I was like in a night terror, and then I came to, as I said that basically. Like I came to, saw the cops, said that, and then realized like I'm awake.
That sucks.
Yeah, like I was like, oh my god. And then
There's nothing else a police officer could have done in that situation.
Yeah, and then like directly after that, I wasn't like belligerent or anything, but I was not like making it easy for them either.
Yeah.
Like I was being I was being just rude as fuck. Like, I don't fucking know. Like whatever. I didn't fucking say that. Whatever. Like I just was being. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was being.
You're in a bad mood. I would be too.
It was like 2 a.m. I had the flu. I was in the middle of a night terror. Sorry, everybody, for being mean to the police officer while he was in my room, in my fucking house.
Oh my god.
Anyway, all right, maybe we should wrap this up.
Yeah, this is getting
Should
a
we?
long one.
Yeah,
but
this is a long boy.
Thank you for sharing so much, though. I think this was good.
Yeah, it was nice.
Are there any closing remarks that you'd like to make, or things that you'd want people to know about your work? Say this is the last piece of evidence. This is your only standing representation of your portfolio or anything. There's nothing anybody could look at. What would you want them to know?
Fuck cops, hail Satan, ACAB 666.
Great.
Just kidding. No, I don't know, man. Just that I am only a human being, and I'm here, and I'm trying, and I'm making art, and I'm just trying to connect with people.
That's what's up.
That's it. Fuck all that other shit. I'm just fucking here, dude. I'm not trying to be anything, but I don't know. I'm trying to be the best I can be.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks.
All right, should we wrap this fucking thing up?
Yeah.
I'm winded. We're in the hat.
We are. We're by the beach somehow.
Yeah, we're on the ocean.
We're
going to look at the GPS in a minute. Maybe. Yeah, if it's not too cold.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm going to do my episode.
Oh, fuck. Okay. All right.
Great.
This has been the Boston Art Podcast.
That's us.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.